Football and school don't go together. They just don't. Trying to do both is like trying to do two full-time jobs. There are guys who have no business being in school. They're here because this is the path to the NFL. There's no other way. All right, Whitlock, do you agree with what Rosen's saying here?
No, I don't. Listen, I was a guy that struggled in school for several years because I just chose socializing and football over school. But by the time I got to my fourth and fifth year, I had figured out the lights came on. And I looked at a lot of teammates of mine who came from far more desperate situations than mine, that if they hung around school 2 to 3 to 4 years, they would figure it out, and they'd figure out the benefits to it. And it's not impossible to pick up an education and compete academically and play football at the same time. Listen, I get where Josh Rosen's coming from. Guy's well-intentioned, good kid, outspoken kid, has some things on his mind, but I think he overstates it here.
I don't hear you necessarily disagreeing with what Josh Rosen said, though, because he basically said school is hard. He didn't say it's impossible. He congratulated several other players who'd had success academically. It's very difficult. You know this from personal experience. I can relate to what you said because I wasn't always the best student. I didn't always devote as much of my time as maybe I should have to being excellent academically. But there's no denying the fact that college football is a full-time industry. Being a student is a full-time industry. Combining the two is very hard. That's basically all he said.
You know who I thought about when he said this? You're going to wince at this. I thought of Kaepernick, and I thought, the reason I like Rosen, because quarterbacks should talk. Kaepernick hasn't talked in a year. I like my quarterbacks to talk. I like them to have strong stances. I like them to talk about football and non-football. This has been my Kaepernick criticism. For a year, he never talks.
He kneels.
He doesn't talk. Like, listen, Josh Rosen, you never have to guess what he thinks. Right. I'm all in on that. Yesterday, Jay Cutler came out. Yeah, my wife talked me into it. We criticized him. He was authentic. He played the brand. I'm not going to criticize a quarterback from having strong opinions.
And I love it from the fact that when you read the article, he goes into more depth in regards to what he means by it. And as a college student myself, this is 20-plus years ago. The demands on the college athlete now are much more than when we were in school.
Brutal.
I mean, so what he's basically saying is that if you want to be an economics major, a sociology major is a lot different. He could have had his, scholarship by, graduated by then. But the harder classes, because of the time that they're, that you can go and actually take the classes, interfere with football.
They do.
So you don't have the meat, the time to really do it. So I get what he's saying, maybe how it came across, the excerpts that we put up there.
Isn't he saying this, Anthony? Listen, if you really care deeply about academics, you're not trying to just get out of school. If you want to be a doctor, the big con is the coach will say, you can do it here, but practice lands right on the labs. Now, I've had coaches tell me this. You want the true college experience, go play Division III. Because the reality with the bowl games and the travel and the conference championships, you want to be a doctor? Those classes you need, they fall in the practice schedule.
Listen, and I think you make a point about the travel, to me, is the only demand, particularly in college basketball, that's changed. Because I think just the opposite, Jim. I think since our era, and I'm a little bit older than you, there's less demands on the athletes because there's more restriction on time. The NCAA stepped in and passed rules. You can only practice for so long. You can only meet for so long. You can only do this. They've tried to push the athletes more into the academic world.
They don't do it because now they have private workouts. They make sure that they go and work out. So even with the demands in regards to just hours, you're still in that gym and you still got to get to different.
There's more restrictions.
I'm going to say this too. Larry Romanoff was my academic advisor. He knew from day one what I wanted to accomplish in school. So he set courses up in order for me to do that. As a student athlete, if you don't do that right away, well, they're going to filter you through some of the easier courses to get through, so you can be eligible.
On the mandatory part of what student athletes do now, but you still have to put in the time to actually become great. For me, at the end of my time in Iowa, so I'm my senior year in college, your best friend, Colin Cowherd, he allowed me one day of practice a week because there was a particular class I needed to try and meet my major and try to get my degree in a certain subject. And so I had to leave practice just a little bit early, one day a week. I was a senior. I'd been a starter for a few years. I was one of the better players on the team. So he allowed me that opportunity. It was something that was not mandatory. It was something he maybe didn't even need to let me do, but it was a decision he allowed me to do that. And so some coaches will have different rules about how you pursue this. Some quarterbacks will handle this a little bit differently. For Josh Rosen, with the family he comes from, long line of very introspective people. So he's saying
and
this.
Wealthy.
And wealthy. But if he was 30 years old saying this same thing, I don't think people would mind. The fact that he's 20 saying it, now we're kind of like, oh, we don't want a guy that young speaking.
I think that's a lot of it. There is one question. We have a picture. I do wonder what class at UCLA this extracurricular activity is connected to.
It's so hard.
What?
Oh, it's so hard.
Hey, UCLA too? Oh my goodness.
Look, it's so hard being a student. Because look, I just want to have one.
Therapy.
Just some reality.
Therapy
I want to
class.
add some reality, man. One of the greatest blessings us three had was leaving college with no debt.
Oh, yeah.
That's a big part of it.
When you come out of college with debt and you have to spend 10 years paying that off, that's quite a burden.